What if one of Christmas's most treasured traditions wasn't a cookie, or a cake, or even candy, but a sausage? In the historic city of Liege, families have gathered around the holiday tables for generations to enjoy a distinctive white sausage that quietly tells a much larger story. The story of medieval trade routes, winter kitchens, changing food traditions, and the remarkable ways history can live on through what we eat. We're exploring the history and origins of Budin De Liege. I'm your host, Glenn Warren, and welcome to another serving of Seasons Eatings, the podcast which explores the history and origins of your favorite Christmas foods. Seasons Eatings can be found wherever you download your favorite podcasts. And if you haven't already, I would ask you to subscribe. That way you won't miss an episode when it's released, and all future episodes will be available without you having to search for them. And if you can please take a minute and leave me a 5-star review, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you let me know you've left a review, I'll send you a Seasons Eating sticker as a personal thank you. If you can't leave a review, then all I ask is to share this podcast with anyone you think would love to learn more about our favorite Christmas foods. Seasons Eatings is also found on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. All the links can be found in the show notes, which can be found on seasonseatingspodcast.com. And while you're there, you can buy me an eggnog. Just click on the little cup at the top of the page and leave a donation for as little as $3. Each donation is used for the running of the podcast and its general upkeep, so any help would be wonderful. Finally, you can let me know how I'm doing. Leave a suggestion for future episodes, or just say hello at seasonseatingspodcast@gmail.com. There are certain foods that become so deeply woven into holiday traditions, they begin to function almost like seasonal landmarks. Long before decorations are unpacked or gifts appear beneath a tree, the preparation of a familiar dish can quietly announce that Christmas is approaching. Across Europe, families maintain culinary traditions that return year after year. Recipes preserved through habit, memory, and the subtle understanding that some celebrations would feel incomplete without them. In eastern Belgium, particularly in and around the historic city of Liège, one such tradition arrives not through spectacle, but through aroma. In kitchens preparing holiday gatherings, the scent of gently cooking pork, softened onions, warming spices, and delicate sweetness from fruit has long signaled the arrival of Christmas. At the center of that tradition sits Budin De Liege, a distinctive regional white sausage whose history extends far beyond the holiday table. Unlike Belgium's internationally celebrated chocolates or famous waffles, Budin de Liege remains largely regional in reputation. It's not a food that travelers necessarily seek out, nor is it among the country's most exported culinary traditions. Yet within this home region, it occupies a place of quiet importance. For generations of families, its appearance during the winter season has represented continuity, an edible connection to earlier generations, and to a culinary tradition shaped by centuries of local history. In this episode, we're exploring the story behind Budin de Liege, where it originated, how historical forces shaped its development, and why it became associated with Christmas, and how a seemingly modest sausage came to reflect larger themes of regional identity, medieval commerce, and the enduring relationship between food and memory. To appreciate the significance of Budin De Liege, it helps first to clarify exactly what it is, particularly because the terminology surrounding European sausage traditions can be surprisingly complicated. The word boudin carries different meanings across regions of Europe. Many listeners may immediately think of blood sausage traditions, particularly because French culinary vocabulary often associates boudin noir with sausages made using blood. However, Budin De Liege belongs to an entirely different culinary tradition. It's a boudin blanc, a white sausage. White sausages occupy an important place within European food history. Unlike preserved sausages designed primarily for long storage through smoking or curing, white sausages generally emphasize freshness and texture. They're often prepared from finely ground meat, combined with ingredients intended to create softness and delicacy, rather than preservation alone. The Liège version developed characteristics that distinguished it from neighboring traditions. Pork forms its foundation, but the ingredients that surround it reveal something particularly interesting about regional taste. Breadcrumbs contribute structure, milk introduces tenderness, onions provide savory depth, fruit, often apples or raisins, adds a subtle sweetness. Spices associated with winter cooking, including nutmeg and cloves, contribute warmth and complexity. Taken together, these elements create something that feels remarkably aligned with Christmas cooking. The flavor profile carries richness without heaviness, and sweetness without becoming dessert-like. It occupies an unusual culinary space, simultaneously rustic and refined. That balance may help explain why it endured. The origins of white sausage traditions extend back much further than modern Belgium itself. Throughout medieval Europe, sausage making emerged not merely as culinary creativity, but as a practical necessity. Communities relied heavily upon methods that could maximize available food resources while minimizing waste. Livestock represented considerable investment, and when animals were processed for food, cooks sought ways to utilize as much of the animal as possible. Yet, sausage making was never solely about economy. Over centuries, it evolved into an opportunity for regional expression. Ingredients reflected geography. Preparation methods reflected local agricultural practices. Flavor preferences reflected trade relationships and cultural exchange. And as a result, sausage traditions developed remarkable diversity across Europe. What makes the story of Liège particularly fascinating is that geographically, it's positioned a city within broader historical currents that profoundly influence local cuisine. For centuries, Liège occupied a strategically important position within continental trade networks. During the medieval period, the region formed part of the Prince-Bishopric of Liège, an ecclesiastical principality within the Holy Roman Empire that maintained considerable political and economic significance between the 10th and 18th centuries. This mattered enormously from a culinary perspective. Trade routes passing through the region brought not only goods, but ideas. Spices that once represented luxury, like nutmeg, cloves, and cinnamon, became increasingly available through expanding commercial networks. Dried fruits moved alongside textiles, metals, and other commodities entering local markets. Cooks adapted. Regional food traditions absorbed influences gradually rather than suddenly. Ingredients once associated primarily with elite households slowly filtered downward over generations, eventually becoming incorporated into local cooking practices. The subtle sweetness characteristic of Budin De Liege may be understood within that larger historical pattern. The inclusion of fruit alongside savory meat reflects culinary preferences that developed over centuries of cultural exchange and commercial connectivity. What emerged was not merely a sausage recipe. It was a regional expression of history itself. We'll explore how Budin de Liege is made after the break. Don't you wish the holidays would last the entire year? Well, now it can. Head on over to mymerrychristmas.com where you can enjoy the holidays all year long. You can chat with other Christmas enthusiasts on any topic you can think of. Movies, books, cooking, decorating, anything. If it's about Christmas, it's here. Joining My Merry Christmas is completely free. But if you become a Premier member, you can enjoy extra bonuses such as a yearly Christmas card exchange and Kringle Radio, Santa's exclusive Christmas radio station. For only $19.95, you can become a Premier member of mymerrychristmas.com for a full year. So head on over to mymerrychristmas.com and start enjoying Christmas all year long. If you're like me, you have fond memories of Christmases past, when you settled in with your family to watch cherished Christmas classics like Rudolph, Frosty, or maybe you remember trekking to the theater to see big holiday releases like A Christmas Story, Home Alone, and my personal favorite, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I hope you'll rediscover a piece of that innocence while shopping at retrofestive.ca. While you're here, why not pick up some gifts for your loved ones? We're always posting new items, so be sure to check back often. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. From leg lamps to moose mugs, puzzles and pop culture, Retro Festive is your one-stop online shop for all your holiday gifts. Visit retrofestive.ca and be like Uncle Eddie and get something for you. Something really nice. As we prepare the Budin de Liege, we must talk about the main ingredient, pork. For centuries across rural Europe, pigs were typically slaughtered in late autumn or early winter. And there's a practical reason for this. Cooler temperatures help preserve meat before refrigeration existed. Families also needed time to prepare enough food to survive winter. And pig slaughtering wasn't just work. It became ritual. Entire households participated. Neighbors sometimes helped one another, and recipes were repeated from memory rather than written instruction. Nothing would be wasted. Hams might be cured, fat rendered into lard, organs were used immediately. This is where Budin de Liege became deeply tied to the Christmas season, because the timing overlapped almost perfectly with Advent and Christmas celebrations. So year after year, families associated the making of boudin with gathering together for winter. Eventually, the dish stopped being merely seasonal and became ceremonial. And one of the most distinctive elements of Budin de Liege is still that sweet note. And culturally, that sweetness tells us something important about Belgian cuisine. Belgian cooking, especially in Wallonia, often embraces contrasts. Sweet with savory, fruit with meat, richness balanced by acidity. You see this in rabbit cooked with prunes, or meat stews made with beer, and fruit paired along game meats. Budin De Liege fit naturally into that tradition. Apples and raisins do more than flavor the sausage. They soften it. In a way, the dish reflects the region itself, a meeting point between rustic peasant cooking and the influence of wider European trade. Traditional Budin de Liege begins with finely prepared pork. Then onions are softened slowly, breadcrumbs contribute body, milk creates tenderness, and fruit provides sweetness and contrast. Seasonings such as marjoram bring warmth. Everything is mixed carefully to create a smooth filling. Then the mixture moves into a natural casing. Gentle cooking follows, not aggressive heat. Then we have patience. The final stage often comes just before serving. Into the pan, a little browning, a slight crispness developing outside, while the inside remains soft. And then comes the smell that tells people Christmas has arrived. At Christmas, Budin de Liege are often served with simple dishes that let the sausage shine. Common pairings include mashed or boiled potatoes, applesauce or stewed apples, mustard for contrast, and sometimes a light salad to cut through its richness. At the markets like the famous Liège Christmas Village, vendors serve them whole in a baguette or sliced into hearty portions, often accompanied by warm onions and a glass of warm piquette, a local juniper spirit. And like many traditional foods, Budin de Liège have evolved. Some modern versions adjust the sweetness, less sugar, fewer raisins. Others experiment with different spices. And in some cases, chefs deconstruct the dish entirely, presenting it in more contemporary forms. But in many households, the traditional version still reigns supreme, especially at Christmas. Nowadays, modern food systems allow strawberries in winter and importing ingredients at nearly any time of the year. Earlier societies operated differently. Seasonality shaped eating habits. Winter foods carry particular importance because they reflected preparation, preservation, and communal gathering. Holiday traditions often emerge from these rhythms rather than existing separately from them. Christmas celebrations naturally became connected to foods associated with abundance, warmth, and family preparation. Budin de Liège fits comfortably within this world. Its richness suited colder weather. Its subtle sweetness aligned naturally with festive cooking traditions. Its preparation required care rather than convenience. And over time, repetition created ritual. One Christmas became another. Recipes passed from parents to children. Holiday meals became repositories of memory. Eventually, dishes ceased being merely food. They became tradition. And perhaps that's why a simple white sausage from Liège still matters. Because sometimes the foods that stay with us longest are the ones quietly waiting on the holiday table, asking for no attention at all, except to be shared. I'm Glenn Warren, and thank you for listening to this serving of Seasons Eatings. Seasons Eatings is available wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Please, if you can leave a review about the show so we can spread the Christmas cheer. Also, I'd love to hear from you, so send me an email at seasonseatingspodcast@gmail.com and let me know how you like the show, suggestions for future episodes, or just say hi. If you let me know you've left a review, I'll send you a Seasons Eating sticker for your trouble, as well as my unwavering gratitude. And if you're feeling extra generous this season, you can buy me an eggnog. Head on over to seasonseatingpodcast.com and click on the little cup in the corner. Each small donation helps with the daily running of the podcast and is greatly appreciated. Seasons Eatings is also having great gifts for the holidays, so click on the merchandise tab to find your next great gift. All music for Seasons Eatings is used under the Creative Commons license.